Hi, my name is Ryan Rich. I am from Haekka, and today I'm going to show you how to create a training, assign a training, and complete a training. So I've already installed Haekka into my Slack instance, and the first thing that I need to do is click this button and create training. So Haekka includes a list of curriculums and courses that are available to users. Most likely, you're going to be interested in at least security awareness training, and then depending on which regulations you must comply with, you'd be looking at something like the HIPAA primer course, or maybe you're looking at GDPR or CCPA or SOC 2. These are all courses that are going to provide users with an overview of the regulation, and typically they are enough, at least in the case of HIPAA primer, HIPAA privacy extended, GDPR, CCPA, SOC 2, and PCI. These are enough for an auditor to take a look at it and say this is sufficient for compliance-specific training for the year. Of course, for certain regulations like HIPAA, you'll also need to do security awareness training. So that's kind of the base training that we always recommend everyone take. And then again, depending on which regulation you need to comply with, those are going to be the additional trainings that you're going to want to assign out. Now, for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to select the SOC 2 primer. Spaced repetition is a weekly topic that we send to users. This is a good way to engage users even beyond training. So users can basically take a quiz, or maybe it's just a topic that they get each week. These are ways to engage users on an ongoing basis, and hopefully then come training time next year, they're already familiar with the content because they've been slowly learning it each year. Now these spaced repetition topics are sent out every Friday. They're very non-invasive. It's just one notification a week that the user would get, and they can read it if they want to. It's really up to them, but we do recommend assigning it out because it does provide a nice way to engage your employees, and you can also track that over time. So we show analytics based on how often employees are engaging with that content. So we always recommend checking this. The start date is going to be the day that the training is available. For this training, I'm just going to say today. And then, of course, the due date. So you're going to want to have this due before your annual audit, typically before the end of the year. So we're just going to go ahead and say that this is going to be due on March 1st. And then annual renewability. So, of course, you're going to want to do security awareness training at least once a year. SOC 2 training, you're probably going to want to do that at least once a year. And it's just a great way to keep employees updated and fresh. And of course, if you need it for compliance reasons, obviously you'd need to do it annually. And we are continuously updating the content. So something that is new in SOC 2 next year, you're definitely going to want to train your staff on that. Checking this box ensures that you get that new training automatically. So we're going to go ahead and hit save. And so what this is going to do is show me that, okay, well, now I have this SOC 2 training, but I don't have any employees assigned yet. So the first thing that I'm going to do is come over here and hit manage users. And what that's going to do is take me into my manage users view. And so I have a couple ways, actually I have 3 ways of adding users. So I can assign this to everyone in my organization. That's certainly one way to do it. If you know everyone in your company is going to have to take this training, this is just a simple way for you to do that. So this takes every user in Slack and assigns them the training. Now, if we go back, we can also manually import users one by one. So say you've already assigned this training out to everyone in your company and you hire your 10th employee. Now, you can come in here and you can just select that new employee, or if you have hired a couple new employees and you want to import them from a channel that you know that they're all in, you can do that using the channel import function. I'm going to go ahead and just assign this to all 9 employees. Actually, I want to show evidence, so I'm actually going to assign it to myself just so I can complete all of the training and show you what evidence looks like. So I'm just going to add myself, and you can see here that I just received a message. Now, imagine I am a standard user. I'm not an admin in this case. This would be the message that I just received. So a user can open training directly right in the messages tab. This is the notification that they would get that an admin had just assigned them this SOC 2 training, and they can get going right away. If I go back to the home tab, you can see here now that I have from an admin perspective, 0% of this training is complete. It's been assigned to one employee, in this case, me. And now for the employee view, so this is what I see, right? So I see my assigned training, SOC 2 Primer. I haven't started it yet. I can see that it's due March 1st, and I can also see that I now have this new spaced repetition topic. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and hit Open Training. And so what this is going to do is show me the first lesson. So this says Lesson 1, SOC 2, describes what the lesson is about. And so I have a couple different options here. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do as a learner, as a reader, is go ahead and check out the course content. And so our course content is it's small, it's compact, it's intended to be, entirely consumed within Slack. So the lesson content is written in a way that tries to take the most important information based on that lesson and present that to the user in the most sufficient and efficient way possible. So then the next thing that I'm going to want to do is open up the lesson scenario. The lesson scenario describes a specific scenario, so it's very much scenario-based learning, where we try to take the user and put them into a position where they have to apply the knowledge that they learned in the lesson content, and we provide them with some other content in here as well. And then of course we provide a question, right? So we want to show them what a question looks like and what an answer looks like, and this is how they finish the lesson. The third option that they have, so this is going to automatically take me to the beginning of the training again, but the third option they have is actually to open up the long form content. So long form content is if the user wants to dive deeper into that subject matter, deeper than what they're able to do within Slack, we always provide additional content that allows users to do that. If we go back to Slack, you can see now that I'm 25% complete with this lesson, and I can hit next lesson. And I'm just going to go through this training really quick, and I'll be right back to show you what a completed training looks like. Okay, so now that we're back, you can see that I have completed the SOC 2 training, and you can see that I get this nice little congratulations message. And then I have two options. One, I can request a certificate, which will show what that does in a second, and then we can also review the lessons. So if I ever want to go back to any of these lessons for whatever reason to review the content, I can do that right in the messages tab as well. Now, request certificate, Haekka provides certified certificates of completion, and so what this button will do is actually send us a request to our system, and we'll get that request, and then we'll create a certificate for each user, and we'll send that user the certificate of completion within 10 days, because we do manually verify that the user has completed the training. On the Home tab, so now for the admin, you can see that this training has been completed by all employees. Now, of course, this was just one employee, myself, but if you had 100 employees, you'd be able to see the completion rate. So maybe it was maybe 90 out of 100 employees have completed. You'd be at 90% completion rate. So you're going to want to ensure that your employees complete their training before it is due. Now, Haekka does help with that. We do send out a notification 1 month, 1 week, the day before, then the day of a training is due. So we get progressively more aggressive, and this should, urge employees to complete the training by the due date. Now, of course, the big thing that we're going to need is our evidence, right? And so evidence is what you're going to provide to your auditor, and most typically it's within a spreadsheet format. So that's what we provide as an output. So here we have, So here we have a spreadsheet, and you can see what it includes. So it shows the company. So this is just Haekka Demo, but this will show the name of your company, the training that you just completed. So SOC 2 Primer, an introduction to SOC 2, when the report was created. So that was created today. And then, of course, the user's name, their email, their role. So the role is selected the first time the user opens a training. I've already opened a training and I've selected my role. But the role is intended to provide auditors as well as us on our end the types of content that user should be receiving. So typically technical and non-technical, but we do have a number of different roles in here for users to select from. So that's what you're going to see here under role. The training, of course, the training they completed, the year, so this was done in 2021, the start date, so I started it today, and I completed it today, and then, of course, when the training is actually due, so you're going to want to have that completion date due before the due date. Now, we do have some logic in here where if you're wondering whether, an employee is overdue, when you do download this, an employee, say, has completed the training but after the due date, it'll clearly indicate that by highlighting it in red. And then, of course, the last column that we have here is the training sample. So typically auditors are going to want to see a sample of what the training looks like. This takes them to a publicly available link that shows a sample of the training so that the auditor can get an idea of on what was covered in the training. And that is about it. We do have some other options here towards the bottom. Of course, as an admin, you can add additional admin users. Admins are able to edit, new training, create new training, edit current training, view results, obviously download evidence, and also add and manage other admins. The spaced repetition, we didn't talk about this, or we talked about it, but we didn't necessarily go over it. And so this is, again, this is the weekly topic that a user would get. They can kind of go through them at their own leisure. This is separate, although it is tied to the training subject matter. It is entirely separate. So this will continue to persist on a week-by-week basis, even after the training is due. And again, this is intended to engage your employees on an ongoing basis to help them learn the material throughout the year, so they're not cramming to understand the training, right at the end of the year. Some other useful links. So you can manage users. So this is how you're going to manage your licenses. So when you assign an employee a training, it automatically creates a license for them. And so when you remove them from a training, it doesn't delete their license because you're going to want to have their data persist. But if you do have an employee completely leave your organization, you can simply remove their license pretty easily or just reassign it to someone else. If you need to add more users, we have an upgrade button in Slack that will take you out to our billing dashboard, which you can upgrade from there. We also have our release notes, so these are going to tell you, the features and releases and product improvements and bug fixes that we do for each release. We also have product documentation. So product documentation is going to give you just guides and tutorials on how to use the application. We also have help and support, so this will take you to a form, but you can also just always send us an email, support@haekka.com if you're having any issues. And then, of course, we also accept feature requests. We've actually implemented a number of different user-requested features, so we highly encourage submitting those. You can do that through the form that this link takes you to, or again, you can simply send it to hello@haekka.com. We're always very open to user feedback. So that's going to do it for this demo. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.